Good morning. Welcome you all in your new topic, the origin and development of blood cells. If you remember, in the last class, I taught you about the blood introduction. Okay, and in that chapter, we discussed about the basic of the bloods, like the blood function, what is blood, the component of the bloods, like the plasma formed element. In today's lecture, we will talk about the origin and development of the blood cells, how the blood cell is got developed, how they originate. These things will be discussed in the today topic. Before going to start the topic, we must go through the objectives and outcomes. We should know what will be the objectives and what will be the outcome of this topic. So let's start. Now the objective of this topic will be like that we can describe the every single structure, functions and production of the RBC, WBC and the platelets. We can also describe the process of homeostasis. That means how this blood will maintain the internal environment of the body. These are the various factors that will help in the coagulations. These things will be discussed. The outcome of this topic, you are able to understand the function of the blood. You will be able to understand how the blood got developed, what will be the steps in their formation, how it will be originate and from where it will be originate, how many different steps are there, and how the gaseous exchanges will be occurring. So these things we will discuss in the today topic. So let's start the origin and development of blood cells. I taught you about the blood is defined as a connective tissue. Now come to the point. The process by which the formed element of blood developed. Okay, the process by which the formed element of blood developed is called the hemopoiesis or hematopoiesis. These two words are very similar, so often the students are gonna to confused about the homeostasis and the hemostasis or hemopoiesis or hematopoiesis. So don't be confused here. You can see here clearly mentioned it's a hemopoiesis or hematopoiesis. That is the process by which formed element of blood is developed. That means the RBC, WBC and platelets. The development of these formed element and the process by which these will be developed, it's called the hemopoiesis. So hemopoiesis क्या होता है? आरबीसी, डब्ल्यूबीसी और प्लेटलेट्स के डेवलपमेंट का जो प्रोसेस है, इस प्रोसेस को बोलते हैं हीमोपोइसिस या हिमेटोपोइसिस. बिफोर बर्थ की बात करें, द हीमोपोइसिस फर्स्ट अकर इन द योक सैक ऑफ एन एम्ब्रियो. एम्ब्रियो में जो योक सैक्स होते हैं, फर्स्ट टाइम वहां से हीमोपोइसिस स्टार्ट होता है. ओके, बिफोर बर्थ इन इनसाइड द एम्ब्रियो के अंदर. लेटर इन द लीवर, स्प्लीन, थाइमस एंड लिम्फ नोड ऑफ अ फीटस. फिर बाद में फीटस जब उसमें डेवलप हो जाता है, एम्ब्रियो से जब ये फीटस में डेवलप होता है, फिर फीटस के लीवर में, स्प्लीन में, थाइमस में, लिम्फ नोड्स में ये डेवलप होते हैं. बट बिफोर दी बर्थ की बात करें, हम बर्थ जन्म लेने के पहले की बात करें जब हम, ओके, इन एम्ब्रियो की बात करें, जब फर्टिलाइज्ड एग की बात करें, तो द हीमोपोइसिस जो प्रोसेस है आरबीसी, डब्ल्यूबीसी और प्लेटलेट्स के फॉर्मेशन की, ये फर्स्ट टाइम कब अकर हुआ? इन yolk sac में. Red bone marrow becomes the primary site of hemopoiesis in the last 3 months before the birth. जन्म लेने के पहले अगर 3 महीने की बात करें, तो रेड बोन मैरो डेवलप हो चुके होते हैं बेबी में. नाउ दिस रेड बोन मैरो विल बिकम द प्राइमरी साइट ऑफ हीमोपोइसिस. अब ये क्या हो जाता है? रेड बोन मैरो जो होते हैं ये प्राइमरी साइट हो जाते हैं, जिसमें क्या होता है? ब्लड सेल्स की फॉर्मेशन होते हैं, हीमोपोइसिस होता है. सबसे पहले कहाँ हुआ? योग सैक में, बिफोर बर्थ, इन एम्ब्रियो में कहाँ? योग सैक में हो रहा है। एंड व्हेन द एम्ब्रियो विल गोना टू डेवलप इन द फीटस, फिर फीटस में लीवर है, स्प्लीन्स है, थाइमस है, लिम्फ है, इनमें इनका डेवलप हुआ। बट बिफोर द बर्थ, बिफोर अर्लियर 3 months अर्लियर, 3 महीने पहले के जब स्टेज की बात करें, when the baby developed, when the red bone marrow is developed in the baby, then the red bone marrow is the primary site. अब रेड बोन मैरो में हो रहा है, रेड बोन मैरो इज द प्राइमरी साइट फॉर द ब्लड सेल फॉर्मेशन। ब्लड सेल फॉर्मेशन कहाँ हो रहा है? अब रेड बोन मैरो में हो रहा है। एंड इट विल बी कंटिन्यू एज द सोर्स ऑफ ब्लड सेल्स आफ्टर द बर्थ एंड थ्रू आउट लाइफ, फिर जन्म लेने के बाद और पूरे जीवन काल तक, until the death. This red bone marrow is the primary site for the blood cell production. ब्लड सेल प्रोडक्शन की बात कर ले, ब्लड सेल फॉर्मेशन की बात कर ले, तो कहाँ होता है? रेड बोन मैरो। इट्स नॉर्मल कन्वर्सेशन ना, when we are talk to someone, when we say something, when we just see in some quizzes the site for the blood formation, the road, you just tick on the red bone marrow. Red bone marrow is the correct answer. That is the points, because just after the birth, okay, and throughout the life, red bone marrow is the primary site for the blood cell formation. But what will happen when, in those cases, when uh, the red bone marrow is not fully developed in the baby? In that cases, first it yolk sac in embryo, then later in the spleen, liver, thymus, and when the red bone marrow is developed, then red bone marrows become the primary site, okay, for the blood cell formation. Now, red bone marrow is a highly vascularized connective tissue located in the microscopic spaces between the trabeculae of the spongy bone tissue. If you remember, you have seen the in a bone chapter, we have learned about the diaphysis, epiphysis, and trabeculae. So, red bone marrow is a highly vascularized connective tissue. किस तरह के connective tissue है? Vascularized, that have the vessels, blood vessels होंगी उसमें, highly vascularized blood tissue. And it will be located in the microscopic spaces, जो microscopic space होते हैं between the trabeculae में, जो spongy bone tissue होते हैं, okay, that that is the area, spongy bone tissue, that is the area where the red bone marrow will be located. If it presents chiefly in bones of the axial skeleton, pectoral and pelvic girdle, and the proximal epiphysis of the humerus and femur, it is present. Mainly कहाँ present होंगे ये? Axial skeleton में होंगे, pectorals में होंगे, pelvic girdles में होंगे, and proximal epiphysis of the humerus and the femur में पाए जाएंगे, ये mainly पाए जाएंगे. About 0.05 to 0.1% of the red bone marrow cells are derived from mesenchymes and are called the pluripotent stem cell or hemocytoblast. अब ये एक interesting fact है. RBC, if you can say the blood cell production is starting from the bone marrow, it is okay. Bone marrow is the primary site for the production of blood cells. ठीक है भाई, बोन मैरो जो है ये ब्लड सेल प्रोडक्शन का प्राइमरी साइट है, बट बोन मैरो कैसे डिराइव हो रही है? सो बोन मैरो विल बी डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम mesenchyme cells, जिसको हम बोलते हैं प्लूरिपोटेंट स्टेम सेल, okay, or you can say hemocytoblast. So hemocytoblast, pluripotent stem cell, these are the cell whose derived the red bone marrow. These cells have the capacity to develop into the many different types of, because each is a stem cell, so definitely these cells having the ability, having the capacity to develop into a many different type of the cells, okay. So these cells can be produced as some specialized cell. Now see, these are the structure of the blood cell developments. First, you will see the key on the right top corner. There's a color indicated. That green color is the progenitor cell. Progenitor cell means that the first cells from where it will be going to start. Then precursor cell will be there, or you can say the blast. That is the light blue in color. Then you can say the having the formed element of circulatory blood, and the last is the tissue. That means our blood cell will be produced. Now you can see here on the top there is a pluripotent stem cell, or we can say it's a mesenchyme. So a pluripotent stem cells होती है, cells which having the capability, which have the ability to form a different type of the cell. So pluripotent stem cell वो cells है जिसके अंदर ये काबिलियत है, ये क्षमता है कि वो कई तरह की अलग-अलग cells को बना सकती है. So now you can see here the pluripotent stem cells will form the myeloid stem cell and lymphoid stem cell. दो तरह की सेल बना रही है. प्लूरिपोटेंट स्टेम सेल क्या बना रही है? दो तरह की सेल्स बना रही है. वन सेल इज अ माइलॉइड स्टेम सेल, दूसरी जो सेल है वो है लिम्फाइड स्टेम सेल. सो माइलॉइड स्टेम सेल एंड लिम्फाइड स्टेम सेल. लिम्फाइड स्टेम सेल्स की बात करें तो इट विल form the T lymphocyte, B lymphocyte, NK lymphocytes. It will discuss later. First, we come on the myeloid stem cell. So when the pluripotent stem cell is formed, the myeloid stem cell, these myeloid stem cells will goes under the colony forming unit, erythrocyte, and it will be form the pro-erythroblast. क्या फॉर्म कर रहे हैं ये? pro-erythroblast कर रहे हैं, जो कि precursor cells हैं. तो first myeloid stem cell will be formed the progenitor cells. सबसे पहले जो माइलॉइड स्टेम सेल्स हैं ये क्या फॉर्म करेंगे? इट विल फॉर्म अ प्रोजेनाइटर सेल दैट विल बी कॉलोनी फॉर्मिंग यूनिट इरेथ्रोसाइट. फिर ये कॉलोनी फॉर्मिंग इरेथ्रोसाइट इज फर्दर डेवलप्ड इनटू द प्रोइरेथ्रोब्लास्ट, जो प्रिकर्सर सेल्स होते हैं. दिस प्रोइरेथ्रोब्लास्ट विल बी न्यूक्लियस इजेक्टेड. फिर ये क्या करेंगे? ये अपने अंदर से न्यूक्लियस को बाहर निकाल देंगे एंड इट विल बी फॉर्म्ड अ फॉर्म्ड एलिमेंट दैट विल बी रेटिकुलोसाइट. फिर ये रेटिकुलोसाइट्स बनाते हैं. फिर ये रेटिकुलोसाइट्स जो होते हैं इट विल फॉर्म अ रेड ब्लड सेल इरेथ्रोसाइट. तो आरबीसी किससे बनी? आरबीसी बनी रेटिकुलोसाइट से. रेटिकुलोसाइट बाय द प्रोइरेथ्रोब्लास्ट बाय द colony forming unit erythrocytes, and then it will form by the myeloid stem cell, and myeloid stem cell will be formed by the pluripotent stem cell. Similarly, myeloid stem cells एक another colony forming unit बनाती है, that will be called the colony forming unit megakaryotes. This megakaryocytes will form the megakaryoblast. Then megakaryoblast will be form the platelets, that will be called the thrombocytes. Another myeloid stem cell will directly form the eosinophilic myeloblast and the basophilic myeloblast. दो तरह के ब्लास्ट सेल बना रही है. One is the eosinophilic myeloblast, second is the basophilic myeloblast. This eosinophilic myeloblast will be formed the eosinophil. basophilic myeloblast will be formed the basophil. So हमारे पास eosinophil भी बन गया, basophil भी बन गया, इरेथ्रोसाइट आरबीसी बन गया, प्लेटलेट्स बन गए. ओके, आरबीसी प्लेटलेट्स के बाद जो बचती है वो डब्ल्यूबीसी. नाउ दीज आर द डब्ल्यूबीसी फॉर्मिंग. Another colony forming unit that will be called the CFUGM, that is the colony forming unit granulocyte macrophages. It is a granulocyte. You can understand granulocytes. A WBC is the granulocytes, that means eosinophil, basophil, and neutrophil will be there. So this colony forming unit will be formed the myeloblast and monoblast. This myeloblast will be formed neutrophils, monoblast will be formed the monocyte. Okay. After these things, come to the lymphoid stem cell. Now you can see here the lymphoid stem cell. Pluripotent stem cell is formed a lymphoid stem cell. This lymphoid stem cell will be formed T lymphoblast, B lymphoblast, and NK lymphoblast. T lymphoblast will be formed T lymphocytes, B lymphoblast will be formed B lymphocytes, and NK lymphoblast will be formed the natural killer cells, NK cells. Now, eosinophil, basophil, and neutrophils are the granular leukocytes, while monocyte and lymphocyte, these are the granular leukocytes. So that is the origin and development of the blood cells. First, it will be developed from the pluripotent stem cell, then myeloid stem cell, and then it goes to further. Same images here. Just you can see there is a downwards, there is a macrophages and the plasma cells are mentioned. Now, first is the RBC, that is called the red blood cells or erythrocytes. Erythro means red and cyte means cell, red cells. So you can see here these red blood cells, or you can say RBC, contains the oxygen carrying protein hemoglobin. We know the RBC contains the hemoglobin that will help in the transportation of oxygen, which is a pigment that gives the whole blood its red color. Now, this hemoglobin is responsible for the color of the blood. So it gives the whole color, a whole blood to a red color. Now, red blood cells or erythrocytes will contains the oxygen carrying protein. कौन सी protein? Oxygen carrying protein. Which protein? Hemoglobin. तो हीमोग्लोबिन क्या हो गया? हीमोग्लोबिन एक ऑक्सीजन कैरिंग प्रोटीन हो गया जो ऑक्सीजन को कैरी कर रहे हैं, और ये हीमोग्लोबिन ही रिस्पॉन्सिबल है किसके लिए? ब्लड के रेड कलर के लिए. A healthy adult male has about 5.4 million red blood cells per microliter of blood, and a healthy adult female has about 4.8 million. RBC are biconcave disc with a diameter of 7 to 8 micrometer. Mature red blood cells have a simple structure. Their plasma membrane is both strong and flexible, which allow them to deform without rupturing as they squeeze through the narrow capillary. Now you will see the RBC structure are the bioconcave. If you see the structure of the RBC, I will show you, will see here. It is the bioconcave. It's like the structure, but you can see there is a hollow in the center. Bioconcave like structure will be there, which have the diameter of 7 to 8 micrometer. Their plasma membrane is both strong and flexible. अगर इसके प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन की बात करें रेड ब्लड सेल्स की, तो स्ट्रॉन्ग भी होंगे, फ्लेक्सिबल भी होंगे, which allow them to deform without rupturing as they squeeze through the narrow capillary. और ये स्ट्रॉन्गनेस और ये फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन की यही इन्हें ये प्रॉपर्टी देती है कि इट कैन स्क्वीज थ्रू द नैरो कैपिलरीज, की अगर किसी आर्टरी का कोई वेंस में कट होता है, देन इट कैन बी लीव द कैपिलरी by through a narrow capillaries. It can leave the area. So that property is given by the plasma membrane because it having the flexible. RBC is the lack of nucleus. इसमें nucleus नहीं होते हैं, and other organelles, and can neither reproduce nor carry on the extensive metabolic activity. So RBC is having the lack of the nucleus and other organelles. इसमें nucleus नहीं होंगे, other organelles नहीं हैं, और ना ही ये रिप्रोड्यूस और ना ही कैरी कर सकते हैं मेटाबॉलिक एक्टिविटीज को. Now you can see structure here. There is a shape of the RBC, shape of the hemoglobin, and iron containing heme. Now you can see in this structure hemoglobin molecules, each of the 4 polypeptide chain of a hemoglobin molecule has one heme group. You can see there is a gold structure present that we call the heme group, and the 4 peptide chains of hemoglobin molecules are connected with the heme groups, and these heme groups will contain an iron Fe2 plus, which are shown in the red color. That is the iron. You can see there is in the structure number C, iron containing heme, so that is the structure, and all things are denoted by the peptide chains. RBC के लाइफ साइकिल की बात करें, the RBC, the red blood cells, live only about 120 days. Because of the wear and tear their plasma membrane undergo as they squeeze through the blood capillaries. Because in the blood capillary, RBC is traveling through the whole bodies. They bear the pressure. So due to all these things, the RBC's life cycle is only for 120 days. सिर्फ 120 दिन का इनका जीवन काल होता है. After that, the red blood cell will destroy. Now think about it. if the bone marrow is producing the blood cells और ब्लड सेल्स लगातार बनती रहती है बॉडी में, तो हमारे बॉडी में अब तक कितनी ब्लड सेल्स बन जानी चाहिए अगर ये डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं हो रही होती तो? इट मीन्स अगर कहीं से इसका प्रोडक्शन है तो कहीं इसका डिस्ट्रॉय भी हो रहे हैं, कंज्यूम हो रहे हैं. दैट इज द कीप इट बैलेंस. So every RBC, every red blood cells will only live for 120 days. After 120 days, that blood cells will be destroyed. And we know without the nucleus and other organelles, RBC cannot synthesize the new components to replace the damaged one. अगर RBC में कोई टूट फूट हो जाए, अगर red blood cells में कोई rupture हो जाए, it cannot be regenerate. It cannot be replace the damaged one. It cannot be repair themselves because it had no nucleus. It had no organelles. So definitely, if there is any problem occur in the RBC, that will going to destroy. So that is the process take approximately 120 days. So 120 दिन का इनका जीवन काल होता है. इसके बाद इनको नष्ट होना है. The plasma membrane becomes more fragile with age. और जैसे जैसे इनकी एज बढ़ती है, इज मींस वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द आरबीसी की एज. से आरबीसी का प्रोडक्शन आज हुआ तो 1 डेज, टुमारो 2 डेज, देन 3 डेज, 4 डेज, 5 डेज, 6 डेज. तो जैसे जैसे इनकी एज बढ़ती है, इनका प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन फ्रजाइल नेचर का होता जाता है, दैट कैन बी इजीली रप्चर एंड द सेल्स आर मोर लाइकली टू बर्स्ट. और जैसे इनका 120 डेज नजदीक आता है, दिस प्लाज्मा सेल मेम्ब्रेन इज गोइंग टू बर्स्ट. And especially they are gonna through the narrow channels, narrow capillaries in the spleen. So ruptured red blood cells are removed from circulation and destroyed by the fixed phagocytic macrophages in the spleen and liver. So ये जो ruptured blood cells हो, जो blood cell टूट रहा है, जो टूट फूट हो रही है blood cells में, 120 दिन में अगर RBC डैमेज हो रही है, टूट रही है, तो क्या ये blood circulation में घूमती रहेगी? No, it will be removed from circulation. सर्कुलेशन से इनको रिमूव किया जाएगा एंड इट विल बी डिस्ट्रॉयड बाय द सम फिक्स्ड फैगोसाइटिक मैक्रोफेजेस इन द स्प्लीन एंड लीवर एंड द ब्रेकडाउन प्रोडक्ट्स आर रिसाइकिल्ड. और इसके टूटने से जो इसके प्रोडक्ट्स निकल रहे हैं, इट विल बी रिसाइकिल्ड इन द फर्दर प्रोसेस. सो समझिए इसको, आरबीसीज लाइफ साइकिल इज ओनली 120 डेज. सिर्फ 120 दिन की लाइफ साइकिल है इसकी. इस 120 दिन में इसको डिस्ट्रॉय होना है, और जब ये डिस्ट्रॉय होगा तो इट विल बी गिव सम बाई प्रोडक्ट्स. फिर उसका ब्रेकडाउन होंगे तो इसमें से कुछ प्रोडक्ट्स निकलेगा. जैसे रेड ब्लड सेल्स हैं तो इसमें कंटेन्स द हीमोग्लोबिन्स हैं, द हीम हैं, ग्लोबिन्स हैं, आयरन्स लाइक दैट. ये सब अलग हो जाएंगे, टूटेंगे. So these things will be utilized by the body for the new process for somewhere other else. And चूंकि RBC ब्लड वेसल्स के अंदर डिस्ट्रॉय हो रही है, सो इसको हम ब्लड वेसल्स में लगातार सर्कुलेट भी नहीं होने दे सकते. It will causes the infection, it will causes some occlusion in the artery. So it should be removed from the blood vessel. Blood vessels हमको remove करना है, and that can be only possible by the phagocytic macrophages in the spleen and liver. वो इन्हें remove करते हैं. Now, first, macrophages in the spleen and liver or red bone marrow phagocytes basically ruptured and worn out red blood cells. सबसे पहले क्या होता है? सबसे पहले जो मैक्रोफेज जो सेल होते हैं, जो स्प्लीन में होते हैं, लीवर में होते हैं, या जो रेड बोन मैरो में जो फैगोसाइटिक्स हैं, ये रप्चर्ड और वर्न आउट द रेड ब्लड सेल्स. रेड ब्लड सेल्स को जो रप्चर होती हैं, ओके, उनको इनगल्फ करते हैं, मैक्रोफेजेस करते हैं. So that the globin and heme portion of hemoglobin are split apart. So hemoglobin will be split in a two portion, heme and globin. So hemoglobin का जो globin है और heme है दोनों अलग हो गए हैं, ठीक है. तो समझिए इसको, when the RBC is going to destroy, जब RBC का रप्चर हो रहा है, जब RBC डिस्ट्रॉय हो रही है, तो रेड ब्लड सेल डिस्ट्रॉय हो रहा है, तो हीम अलग हो गया, ग्लोबिन अलग हो गया. Now globin is broken down into amino acid. ग्लोबिन अलग हो गया तो ग्लोबिन को फिर तोड़ा गया और ग्लोबिन किस में कन्वर्ट हुआ? अमीनो एसिड्स में. और we know amino acid is very well known for the synthesis of the protein. अमीनो एसिड से बॉडी में कई तरह की प्रोटीन बनती हैं. सो डेफिनेटली ग्लोबिन को रीयूटिलाइज किया जा रहा है बॉडी में, कैसे? बाय कन्वर्टिंग इनटू द अमीनो एसिड। सो ग्लोबिन को अमीनो एसिड में कन्वर्ट किया गया और ये अमीनो एसिड को रीयूज किया जा रहा है फॉर द सिंथेसिस ऑफ प्रोटीन्स। सो ग्लोबिन तो यूज में आ गया, अभी हीम बचा हुआ है, मतलब आयरन बचा हुआ है। नाउ दिस फ्रॉम हीम पोर्शन से आयरन को रिमूव किया गया। आयरन इज रिमूव फ्रॉम द हीम पोर्शन इन द फॉर्म ऑफ Fe3+। ओके, हीम पोर्शन में से आयरन को इन द फॉर्म ऑफ Fe3 के रूप में बाहर निकाला गया, रिमूव किया गया और इसको एसोसिएट किया गया विद द प्लाज्मा प्रोटीन ट्रांसफेरिन। Transferrin, trans means across and ferrin is iron. So transferrin is a plasma protein through which this Fe3 is associated, and transferrin is here act as a transporter for Fe3 in the blood stream. अब ब्लड में अगर हम हीम को सेपरेट कर रहे हैं तो हीम से हमने आयरन को बाहर निकाला और फिर आयरन को एक ट्रांसफेरिन प्रोटीन के साथ अटैच कर दिया गया। Now this transferrin will transport the iron into the bloodstream, और bloodstream में transport कर रहे हैं इनको। In muscles fiber, liver cells and macrophages of the spleen and the liver, Fe3 detached from transferrin and attached to the iron storage protein called ferritin। अब देखिए ये ट्रांसफेरिन इनको ब्लड स्ट्रीम के थ्रू ट्रांसपोर्ट कर रहा है, कहाँ पे? लीवर में ले जाएंगे, स्प्लीन्स में ले जाएंगे, जहाँ पे Fe3+ डिटैच हो जाएगा ट्रांसफेरिन प्रोटीन से। ट्रांसफेरिन प्रोटीन एक बार इनको ट्रांसपोर्ट कर दिया, इसका काम हो गया, अभी हट जाएगा। नाउ दिस Fe3 विल अटैच टू अ फेरिटिन। फेरिटिन इज ए स्टोरेज प्रोटीन, आयरन स्टोरेज प्रोटीन। एक आयरन स्टोरेज प्रोटीन है फेरिटिन, तो फेरिटिन से इसको अटैच कर दिया गया। नाउ अपॉन रिलीज फ्रॉम अ स्टोरेज साइट और एब्जॉर्प्शन फ्रॉम द ट्रैक्ट, Fe3 रीअटैच टू ट्रांसफेरिन। स्टोरेज साइट से अगर रिलीज होने के बाद या एब्जॉर्प्शन फ्रॉम द जीआईटी से एब्जॉर्प्शन होने के बाद Fe3 फिर से अटैच हो जाता है ट्रांसफेरिन से। दिस Fe3+ ट्रांसफेरिन कॉम्प्लेक्स इज देन कैरीड टू द रेड बोन मैरो। फिर Fe3 और ट्रांसफेरिन का जो कॉम्प्लेक्स है ये कहाँ तक जाएगा? रेड बोन मैरो में जाएंगे, जहाँ पे आरबीसी प्रिकर्सर सेल्स टेक इट अप थ्रू द रिसेप्टर मीडिएटेड इंडोसाइटोसिस। जहाँ पे जो प्रिकर्सर सेल्स हैं, दो सेल्स हु आर रेडी टू प्रिपेयर द आरबीसी, like we are talking about the pluripotent stem cell, myeloid stem cell. Okay, these cells are ready to take up these Fe3 and by the endocytosis process for use in the hemoglobin synthesis. Iron is needed for the heme portion. We know the iron is needed for the heme portion of the hemoglobin molecules, and amino acid needed for the globin portion. आयरन की जरूरत हमें हीम के लिए है और अमीनो एसिड की जरूरत ग्लोबिन के लिए है। Vitamin B12 is also needed for the synthesis of hemoglobin. Now the erythropoiesis in red bone marrow result in the production of red blood cells which enter in the circulation. अब erythropoiesis start हो गया because हीम भी है, ग्लोबिन भी पहुंच गया। So in both cases में RBC का प्रोडक्शन स्टार्ट हो गया and RBC is gonna to again into the circulation. Now when iron is removed from the heme, जब आयरन को हमने रिमूव किया था हीम से Fe3 की प्लस के रूप में और ट्रांसफेरिन प्रोटीन से अटैच किया था फॉर द ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, उस समय हीम हैविंग द नॉन आयरन पोर्शन ऑफ द हीम का वो पोर्शन जो आयरन इसमें नहीं है इज कन्वर्टेड टू बिलीवर्डिन। द नॉन पोर्शन ऑफ द हीम इज कन्वर्टेड टू बिलीवर्डिन में कन्वर्ट हुआ। बिलीवर्डिन इज अ ग्रीन पिगमेंट and then converted into the bilirubin is a yellow orange pigment. So दो चीजें वहां से नॉन आयरन हीम पोर्शन से दो चीजें बन रही हैं। एक नॉन आयरन हीम पोर्शन कन्वर्ट हो रहा है बिलीवर्डिन में, फ्रॉम बिलीवर्डिन इट विल बी अगेन कन्वर्टेड इनटू द bilirubin में। नाउ bilirubin enter the blood and is transported to the liver। द bilirubin ब्लड में इंटर कर रहा है और ट्रांसपोर्ट कर रहा है कहाँ पे? लीवर पे जाएगा। Within the liver, bilirubin is released by the liver cell into bile। लीवर के अंदर बिलीरुबिन को रिलीज किया जा रहा है बाय द लीवर सेल हेपेटोसाइट सेल्स, कहाँ पे? बाइल में, which passes into small intestine and then into the large intestine, जो फिर स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन में पास हो रहा है और लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन में पास हो रहा है। In the large intestines, bacteria converted the bilirubin into urobilinogen. Large intestine, we know there is a lot of the bacteria are present in the large intestine. So that bacteria will convert the bilirubin into urobilinogen. So urobilinogen, some amount of the urobilin is absorbed back into the blood, converted to yellow pigment called urobilin, and excreted in the urine. So this urobilinogen, which having the yellow pigment, is called urobilin and is excreted in the urine. So that is the reason. Urobilin is the reason for color of the urine. Most urobilinogen is eliminated in the feces in the form of brown pigment that will be called stercobilin. अभी जो stercobilin, that urobilinogen is converted into the urobilin and stercobilin. Urobilin will give the color to the urine, while stercobilin which gives the color to the feces. जो feces को color provide की जाती है, that is possible stercobilin. Now all things are depicted here in one images, point wise. You can see the point is mentioned here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. These are the 14 points here. Every point is indicating very clearly. These are the formation and destruction of red blood cells and the recycling of the hemoglobin component. Now you can see here in the images, first one, red blood cells death and phagocytosis occur. आरबीसी का टूटना, 120 दिन के बाद आरबीसी का डिस्ट्रॉय होना और फैगोसाइटिक सेल्स के द्वारा इनको इंगल्फ करना, और जब आरबीसी का ब्रेकडाउन होना तो आरबीसी से हीम और ग्लोबिन का फॉर्मेशन. सेकंड पॉइंट, हीम और ग्लोबिन इज differentiate. Now this globin is converted into amino acid, you can see number 3, and then it will be reused for the protein synthesis. Now protein synthesis will be necessary for the body, for the cells. Remaining heme, you can see second point, heme. From heme you can go to the fourth point, that means from heme the Fe3 will be removed, and this Fe3 is going to associate with the transferrin protein and then transported to the liver. कहाँ ट्रांसपोर्ट किया गया? लीवर में ट्रांसपोर्ट कर दिया गया Fe3 को, जहाँ पे ये फेरिटीन से मिलेंगे. फेरिटीन इज ए आयरन स्टोरेज साइट. वहाँ पे फेरिटीन से मिला, इसमें आयरन को स्टोर किया गया. वहाँ से फिर से Fe3 को ट्रांसफेरिन प्रोटीन के हेल्प से ट्रांसपोर्ट किया जा रहा है. कहाँ पे? यू कैन सी द पॉइंट नंबर 7, रेड बोन मैरो में. तो Fe3 पहुँच गया वहाँ पे. ग्लोबिन जो एमिनो एसिड्स यूज किया गया था, again reutilized in the form of globin in the bone marrow. Vitamin B12 is also there. Erythropoietin is also there. So erythropoiesis will be start. The production of RBC is start. So RBC का production start हो गया bone marrow में. और फिर से you can see it will goes to the circulation into the blood vessels. For 120, after 120 days, it will be again phagocytosis will be occur and again breakdown will start. So these are the circulation. These are the continuous process. Now after point 6 and 7 and 8, you can again see the biliverdin, that is the non-heme portion, non-iron portion of the heme. Heme is a non-iron portion है, that will be converted into the biliverdin, a green pigment. This biliverdin is converted into the bilirubin, and bilirubin is transported to the liver. From the liver, it will be transported through the bile duct into the small intestine, then small intestine to the large intestine. Now, large intestine bacteria will be available, and that bacteria will convert the bilirubin to the urobilinogen. बिलीरुबिन को बैक्टीरिया किसमें कन्वर्ट कर रहे हैं? यूरोबिलिनोजन में. और ये यूरोबिलिनोजन will be converted into the urobilin in urine, will be passed out, and in stercobilin through the feces it will be passed out. So these all things about the RBC developments. You can see the structure of the here granular leukocytes. That means we are talking about the WBC, those WBC which having the granules structures. Okay, like the eosinophil, basophil, and neutrophils we are talking about. Now, after staining, each of the 3 types of the granular leukocytes display the conspicuous granules with a distinctive coloration that can be recognized under the light microscope. after staining, you can see these things in the under light microscope, and you can see the structure of the this WBC. The large uniform sized granules within an eosinophils are the eosinophilic, that mean the eosin loving, and they will stain the red orange with acidic dyes. The granules usually do not cover or obscure the nucleus, which most often has two lobes connected by a thick strands of the chromatins. The round variable sized granules of a basophil are basophilic, that is the base loving. They stain the blue purple with basic dyes. The granules commonly obscure the nucleus, which has the two lobes. The granules of neutrophils are smaller, evenly distributed, and the pale iliac in the color. The nucleus has 2 to 5 lobes connected by the very thin strands of chromatins. Granular leukocytes, even those so-called granular leukocytes, causes cytoplasmic granules, and the granules are not visible under light microscope because of their small size and poor staining qualities. You can see the granular sites that will be not visible, while granular site is visible. The nucleus of you can see the lymphocyte is round, slightly indented and stained darkly. The cytoplasm stains sky blue and forming a rim around the nucleus. Lymphocyte may be as small as 6 to 9 meter in a diameter, and it could be also large as to 10 to 14 meter in diameter. As noted earlier, there are the three types of lymphocyte could be possibly seen. The T lymphocyte, yeah, you can say T cell, B lymphocyte or B cell, and the natural killer cells, or you can say the NK cell. Monocytes are 12 to 20 meter in diameter. The nucleus of monocyte is usually kidney shaped or horseshoe shaped, and the cytoplasm is blue-gray and has a foamy appearance. The color and appearance are due to very fine azerophilic granules, which are the lysosomes, and these are the significance of the high and low white blood cell count. What will happen if the amount of these blood cell is going to increase or decrease? For example, if the neutrophil is going to high, that means it shows the bacterial infection, burn, stress, or inflammation. And if it is a low amount, then it will be the radiation exposure, drug toxicity, vitamin B12 deficiency, or the systemic lupus will be there. If the lymphocyte is going to increase, it will show the viral infection or some leukemias will be there. And if it is low count, then it will prolong illness like the immunosuppression. Similarly, monocyte, eosinophil, and basophil are showing their higher level and the low layer. A platelet that will goes under the influence of the hormone thrombopoietin, myeloid stem cell develop into the megakaryocytes, colony forming cells that in turn develop into the precursor cell called megakaryoblast, and from megakaryoblast transform into the megakaryocyte, and that splinter into the 2000 to 3000 fragments, and each fragment is enclosed by a piece of the plasma membrane that is a platelet, also called the thrombocytes. And we know the thrombocytes having the range between the 1,50,000 to 4 lakh is there in each microliter of the blood. And if you're talking about the shape, we know that it's a disc shape, 2 to 4 meter in diameter, and has many vessels but no nucleus. Similarly, platelets help to stop the blood loss from the damaged blood vessels by forming the platelet plugs, which we will discuss in the coagulation chapter. So their granules also contains the chemicals that once released promote the blood clotting, and platelet having a short lifespan, normally just 5 to 9 days. You can go through the structure of the platelet adhesion will be there, where the platelet plug will formation, it having the platelets sorry, can stop the blood loss completely if the hole in the blood vessel is small enough. If there is a small cut, a small incision will be there on the blood vessel rupture will be there, then the platelet is going to adhere at that surface, and then liberation of ADP and serotonin and the thromboxane A2 will be there. Then it will be released, some this reaction will be released by the platelets, and the platelets is aggregated at that particular sites, and they're going to block that particular area. You can see the initially platelets contact and stick to a part of damaged blood vessels, such as the collagen fiber of the connective tissue underlying the damaged endothelial cell. This process is called the platelet adhesion. Adhesion means to stick. So when is any rupture is there in the blood vessels, then the collagen fibers of the connective tissue and the underlying damage within the endothelial cells So this process will be called the platelet adhesion when platelets contact or stick to the part of the damaged area. Due to adhesion, the platelets become activated. Now platelets are going to attach at the damaged site. Now it will be activated and their characteristics will be changed dramatically. You will see there is the vast changes between the platelets, and when the platelet is going to attach as the particular damaged area. They exchange many projections that enable them to contact and interact with the one another, and they begin to liberate the content of their vessels. This phase is called the platelet released reaction, because when the platelet is attached to the damaged area, it will release some reaction like the liberated ADP and thromboxane A2 will be there, which play a major role by activating the nearby platelets. Serotonin and thromboxane A2 function as a vasoconstrictor, causing and sustaining the contraction of the vascular smooth muscle, which decrease the blood flow through the injured vessel. So this platelet adhesion will increase the liberation of ADP and thromboxane A2, and this process will activate the nearby platelets. So nearby platelets will also help this process. Serotonin and thromboxane A2 function also causes the vasoconstriction. They are also having the contraction of the vascular smooth muscle, so it will decrease the blood flow. If the blood flow will be decreases, the blood loss will be also decrease. And the third point, that will the release of ADP make other platelets in the area sticky, and the stickiness of the newly recruited and activated platelets causes them to adhere to the original activated platelets. This gathering of platelet is called the platelet aggregation, because we know liberation of ADP and thromboxane A2, which causes the activation of nearby plates. So these all platelets will goes to activate, and they are stick to each other and form a network. Or you can form the aggregate is there. So this gathering is called the platelet aggregation, and eventually the accumulation and attachment of the large number of platelets from mass is called the platelet plug. So when the large amount of platelet, when the mass of the platelet is formed in that particular area, it will be called the platelet plug. And these are the summary of the formed element of the blood. You can see the red blood cells, erythrocyte, white blood cells, neutrophil, eosinophil, and basophil. Their number is there. How much it should be? I already told you in the first class of the blood introduction that if the red blood cells should be 4.8 millions in per microliter in female and 5.4 in microliter in male. WBC should be 5,000 to 10,000 per microliters. Similarly, neutrophil, eosinophil, and basophil will be there, and their characteristics and their function. Like RBC is having the most important function, they transport the oxygen and carbon dioxide. WBC is helping and combat the pathogens and other foreign substance. Neutrophils having in the phagocytosis. Eosinophil combat the effect of histaminic and allergic reactions. Basophils is liberate the heparin and histamine serotonin. So these are the functions. Similarly, monocyte and platelets will be here. Now these are the quiz. We have also some quizzes there. Which is the least common type of white blood cells? So we know basophil is the correct answer here. In the process of hemostasis, which phase involve the intrinsic and extrinsic pathway? So we know the coagulation having the intrinsic and extrinsic both pathways. So yes, answer D is correct. In hemostasis, which molecule polymerizes to become the insoluble blood clot? So that will be fibrin. So answer C is correct. Which enzyme convert the fibrinogen to fibrins? So it will be thrombin. So answer B is correct. Which of the following is not a macrophage? इसमें से कौन सी macrophage नहीं है? Puffer cell, monocyte, dendrocytes, megakaryocytes. So megakaryocyte is not a macrophage. So answer D is correct. What can be said about a person who has the A antigen on their red blood cells? So definitely their blood contains the NTP agglutinins. These two things about the blood coagulation and antigen we will also discuss on the some other separate chapter of the blood coagulation and blood groups. Which one of the following is not a plasma protein? Creatinine, albumin, ferritin, and globulin. We know albumin is plasma protein, ferritin is a plasma protein, globulin is a plasma protein, but keratin is not a plasma protein. So answer A is correct. What substance is produced by the first step in blood clotting process? We know that is the prothrombin. So answer D is correct. Which statement about the neutrophil is correct? Neutrophil, they function as a body defense mechanism. It is correct. So answer C is correct here. What are red blood cells are also known as? We know the red blood cell is also called the erythrocytes. So yes, answer A is correct. These are the reference. You can You can go through these reference and read lots of things about the blood and their components, their origin and developments. Then we will meet again in the next class with a new topic like the coagulations and the blood group like that. Okay, so till that, for the today lectures, thank you. We will meet again in the next class.